Trump has the mental soundness. We're talking about a 78-year-old and an 81-year-old here. I don't remember a time when this was a central issue in a presidential race case, but it is now. It is in every.
Hi guys, welcome back to Xcom 2.
Not a one-off. Everyone you look at shows the same thing, that a majority of Americans, a plurality of Americans in some cases, do not believe that the president has the mental acuity. I've even seen polls with Democrats where pluralities of Democrats think that he shouldn't be the nominee for that reason. So when the American people are making this assessment, you have to ask why. When the special counsel, Robert Hur, the only individual who has sat with him in long form to that extent, because he doesn't do interviews, if he does, they're short, Robert Hur sat with him for hours and said, the same assessment. He was older. He was not entirely with it. We can all read the transcript, but denying reality, it's just not the best strategy in this case. So we're about a week away from the big debate on June 27th, the first presidential debate. And here is a new ad that the Biden team has put out. And I think we're going to hear quite a bit more of this. Let's give everybody a taste of what the campaign looks like.
This election is between a convicted criminal who's only out for himself and a president who's fighting for your family.
Effective message for Joe Biden? I think for his campaign to do that, that's one thing. For it to be in an ad, they're leaning into the only thing that they have. I think it would be folly for President Biden himself to lean into the convicted felon language on the debate stage. President Trump will weaponize that immediately. He will come in and say, see, I told you these were the Biden trials. It would be a huge mistake for Biden himself to use that language. He might do it. Reporting I've read indicates he may. I just would advise against it because you're playing into Donald Trump's hand there. It'd be fascinating. Kaylee, thank you so much. Always great to have you with us. Thanks for coming by today. So later this hour, Kellyanne Conway and Robert Wolf on the razor-tight race heading into next week's big presidential debate. And breaking right now, brand new details from the NYPD on the illegal migrant suspected of a heinous sexual assault here in New York on a 13-year-old girl in a park in the middle of the afternoon. Fox 5's Rosanna Spotto broke part of this story this morning. She has the very latest for us next.
The charges are going to be as follows. For a female victim, rape, sex abuse, robbery in the first degree, menacing, unlawful imprisonment, kidnapping, endangering the welfare of a child, and possession of a weapon. For the male victim, robbery in the first degree, menacing, criminal possession of a weapon, unlawful imprisonment, kidnapping, endangering the welfare of a child.
Working in close coordination to maintain a cohesive form.
Why would I use kayak to compare hundreds of travel sites at once? I like 15 myself. I can't trust anything else to do the job right. Kayak. That's one and done. Hi, Grandma. I played baseball today. Oh, that's great.
What position did you play?
First base. That's what Grandpa used to play. When our hearing wouldn't allow us to use a regular phone, it made us feel isolated.
It became difficult to communicate with my friends.
Clear captions was an easy solution for us.
Clear Captions provides captions on a phone like captioning on your TV, so you can see what the caller is saying live as they say it.
Making it easy to understand and respond immediately.
There is no insurance or Medicare required. Clear Captions service is provided at no cost to you through a federally funded program. We deliver, install, and train you on how to use your phone, all at no cost to you.
Give your loved ones the independence and connection they deserve.
Call now to see if you qualify to get a Clear Captions phone at no cost to you. Call 1-800-690-1802. That's 1-800-690-1802.
Oh, my leak filter? I just scheduled an appointment online and the inspection was a breeze. They explained everything.
Leak Filter technology protect your gutters for good.
Now, my home's protected.
Call 833 Leak Filter or visit leakfilter.com.
My hair was thinning all around my hairline.
My dermatologist recommended Nutrafol. It's 100% drug-free and clinically tested.
My hair is longer, thicker.
Nutrafol is life-changing.
Get growing at Nutrafol.com. These bills are crazy.
She has no idea she's sitting on a gold mine. She doesn't know that if she owns a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, she can sell all or part of it to country for cash. It's her policy.
You got your policy?
Even unter.
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-496-9200 or visit CoventryDirect.com. Take control of your health by boosting your force field, the immune system. Aura tells you when your temperature is higher than normal. Live smarter, stronger, healthier with the Aura Ring.
All right, Joe Biden's day-to-day struggles, they continue, and so does the gaslighting from Democrats and the media mob. They don't like the truth. It is tonight. This feels funny. Where did they go? I found out about what the United Way to do. I was sitting inside the building on the phone, talking to somebody saying, I don't remember. I got nothing. I might as well be dead. 14 years. Reload. I got that. I don't think that's
Another sunny day by the water. Friends, fun, and maybe a few drinks. We all know to keep our roads free of impaired drivers. Things and waterways too. Impaired boating is impaired driving. Thank you to all the responsible boaters who are doing their part, and to those that keep an eye out, just in case. Here's to more sunny days. Enjoy the summer on safer roads and waterways. Arrive alive. Drive sober.
Ryan from Ecuador arrested for the rape of a 13-year-old girl here in New York City. It happened in a park in Queens last week in the middle of the day. The girl and a boy, 13 years old, tied up home at gunpoint. Investigators say the suspect crossed the border illegally 3 years ago.
He comes through Eagle Pass, Texas, where he's detained and placed under arrest for entering the country illegally. He's then detained, and while he's waiting for processing, he's let go. He does indicate to us that he knew his time in this country was coming to an end, and that he was going to have to leave soon after. But he did come through to the United States from Ecuador through Texas, which is consistent with the way a migrant might travel.
Sure is. Okay, joining me now, Rosanna Scotto, anchor of Good Day New York on Fox 5, who broke the news of the arrest. She's also hosted the Sanctuary Trap, an excellent series on Fox Nation. Rosanna, great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Martha, for the invitation.
It's just an absolutely horrific crime. Just think about the impact on these poor 13-year-old kids who went through this. Take everybody through what happened this morning on Good Day New York.
So this morning on our show, Good Day New York, the Chief of Patrol, Shell, was there along with the Deputy Commissioner, Kaz Daltrey, and they said they had a person in custody. And then they broke the news that the neighborhood actually helped in the apprehension of this man. And this is what happened. It really worked hand in hand. The police were out there canvassing the last 4 days, handing out flyers, talking with people in the community, asking did they know who this person was. Now, the young woman who was raped, 13 years old, she gave a very detailed description, especially of that tattoo. It was a very distinctive tattoo. The people in the neighborhood knew who he was. They knew him because they saw him about 2 weeks ago. This one guy in the neighborhood, his name is Jeffrey Flores, he waited outside this deli in Corona, Queens, and he waited all day for him yesterday.
Because somebody told him that he hangs out there or be out there?
He saw him there at the deli.
Wow.
And sure enough, about 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, he sees the guy walking down the block. He lets him go in the deli, get whatever he's getting. He gets his friends outside and says, this is the guy, because they knew there was a $10,000 bounty on this guy's head. They grabbed him on the way out. He struggled. This guy, Jeffrey Flores, had him in a headlock. There was a major struggle. They got a belt. They put it around his legs. I think they beat the heck out of him. The man, the migrant, was screaming help, help, help in Spanish. And according to Jeffrey Flores, he said, yes, and that's what the young girl was screaming too. Yeah, exactly. And he said he felt compelled to take this young man down, 25 years old, from Ecuador, compelled to take him down because he has sisters and he has a daughter on him.
Thank God for this community's awareness. And, this is what people don't understand. Like, New York is a community like everywhere else across this country. These people know that these young children were abused and terrified, and this young girl raped. I mean, God bless her that she had the wherewithal to remember what was on that tattoo. And, we all hope and pray that she will recover from this horrible, horrible event. But, her neighbors took this guy down, which is extraordinary.
They took him down, and the police were in there for 4 days. Yeah. Canvassing the area, giving the information, handing out flyers. That sketch that they did was uncanny. It looks exactly like this guy. And that 13-year-old girl must be traumatized, but she was able to give very important details. And the young boy that was with her, her school chum, also 13 years old, gave very important details, and the community came to get her.
I saw former President Trump, say that, he was very angry about this, about the people coming in from the jails. He said, he grew up right here. He's it's very close to where he grew up. So I just want to, obviously send our thoughts to them. What about this mask issue in New York? Kathy Hochul, we just reversed the whole congestion pricing thing. She's going back on a number of things. So this was put in place during COVID, and now they want people to take off masks in public. They were never allowed to walk down the street with a mask on before COVID. And
I think it's a fantastic idea. Yeah. Even Mayor Adams is in favor of it. If you notice, when you look past those illegal smoke shops in New York City now, there's a big sign on. Do not come in with masks and do not come in with hoodies. They won't let you in because they're robbing the places. And, some of the people who were involved in some of the robberies on these illegal mopeds with no license, unregistered, they also have masks on. What's the recourse? How do you find them? They're anonymous, you can't figure out who they are. They're anonymous.
It's a bit encouraging, I guess, if we start sort of taking back these sort of modes of behavior. I just saw a video this morning about these people snatching, grabbing an entire jewelry store, masks on, hoodies. You shouldn't be able to walk on the street like that. Here's Kathy Hochul, the mayor, on how this new rule will be applied.
There will be exceptions for health. There will be exceptions for religious observance. There would be exceptions for cultural festivities. There should be, some deterrent for people committing criminal activities. Do you really want someone with a mask on walking into a bank? We have to be smart about protecting our businesses and our riders on subways from harassment as well.
Well, listen, I think it's a great step. How do you enforce them? We have so many people on the streets of New York. New Yorkers know what's going on the streets of New York City. Yes, crime is down, but robberies, they feel like they're happening. Assaults, they're happening. You see these people on these mopeds. I'm going to get back to that. The e-bikes, they're hitting people, taking off their masks, no license plate, no recourse.
No ID in a lot of these situations. We've got the Venezuelan gang issue that's going on. So we hope we can take back this city and all the cities across the country who've been really plagued by this. We hope that this young boy and girl will fully recover from this horrible incident. Thanks so much for that. Thank you. Always good to see you. Thank you for coming by. So, coming up, former President Trump lays blame for the shocking murder of Rachel Warren, the mother of 5, on President Biden's failure to contain the border crisis. We will speak in moments with Rachel Warren's mom, Patty, exclusively.
Target package secured.
Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. We handcraft every Stearns and Foster using the finest materials like indulgent memory and ultra-informative inner screens for a beautiful mattress and indescribable comfort.
Shop now and save $400 on select Stearns & Foster mattresses.
A vacation starts with how you get them. A private jet experience from One Flight's Magic. We've got to see this. Finding your itinerary, search from over 5,000 ways. Pay, and you're on your way. Nothing better than a personalized meal on board. A great vacation always starts with your flight experience.
Oh, for a complimentary flight.
Attention former Marines and family members stationed at Camp Lejeune. If you lived or worked at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina for at least 30 days from August 1953 to December 1987 and have been diagnosed with cancer, neurobehavioral effects, and a child born with birth defects, or been diagnosed with fertility issues or more, significant compensation may be available. Call Legal Injury Advocates now to process your administration claim before the August 10th, 2024 deadline. Call 1-800-971-7272.
Somebody would ask her something and she would just walk right past me. She didn't know they were talking so much.
I just could not hear. I was hesitant to get the hearing aids because of her short hair, but nobody people sees them.
Our newly invisible hearing aids are just one reason we've been grandmother for over 75 years.
When I finally could hear for the first time, I could hear everything.
Call 1-800-234-7090 to schedule a 3-year evaluation and unlock our best deal of the year.
The savings sparkle during Omaha Steaks 4th of July sale.
Oh boy.
Get 50% off site-wide. Save on favorites like our famous pork tender filet mignon, juicy chicken breasts, sides, desserts, and more. Order now and get 8 Omaha Steaks burgers free. This 4th of July, ignite the savings on guaranteed perfection from America's original butcher. Visit omahasteaks.com/TV today. The Fed is printing money like crazy. Debt is rising by the trillions. Is there a way to profit from this madness? What do these experts say?
Even Bank of America says $3,000 gold is highly possible.
Silver still has a big fun.
Gold will outperform stocks. Silver will outperform gold.
Experts agree. Massive money could.
About to happen from the White House, President Biden is about to speak about a program, we understand, a few details now, that would allow people who are in the country illegally but married to an American citizen to have a path to citizenship, to stay here if they have been married for 10 years. Critics of the president see it as another plan to help people stay and potentially live here. So as this gets underway, sounds like there's a pretty big crowd there. Let's listen in.
First bill introduced when I was president, the immigration bill that included this provision, but it never got off the ground. We need a little more help. But now, today, a significant portion of it is being passed, made by executive order. Ira, thank you for the introduction and for sharing your family story. You know, I've often said, doctors, we've been a significant consumer of healthcare in my family. Spent a lot of time in hospitals for our family. Anyway. And I always said that doctors let you live, nurses make you will live. Not a joke. A lot of time in ICU, a lot of time with my son, a lot of time. And, you know, it's, if there's any angels in heaven, they're all nurses, men and women. Not a joke. So thank you for what you did to help us get through the pandemic, pal, and for all you're doing for our country. My name is Joe Biden. I'm Joe Biden's husband. Thanks to all members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure. But all kidding aside, Secretary Mayorkas, as well as Secretary Sarah, and advocates and families from law enforcement, faith leaders, everybody's just here. 2 weeks ago, I did what Republicans in Congress refused to do. I took action to secure our border. That included restricting unlawful crossings at our southern border, making decisions on asylum more quickly, and so much more. And so far, it's working. Since we've done my order, encounters have dropped 25%. And we're seeing the lowest number we've seen in a long time. Well, folks, we took this step after bipartisan agreement. One of the most conservative Republican senators had worked through a 4 or 5 week period. The strongest bipartisan security agreement that's ever been seen. But we were about to move forward when Republicans walked away from the deal for the most pathetic and petty of reasons. Donald Trump got on the phone literally and started a press conference and calling senators saying, don't go ahead and do this. Don't support this legislation that has bipartisan support. And when he asked why, he said it would hurt him politically and help me instead. So much for Republicans caring about the border. I also know many people in this room also have concerns about steps I've taken. I heard and respect from many people behind me of the concerns you felt as President I had to take these actions. Every nation must secure its borders. It's just that simple. And if Trump and the Republicans wouldn't do it, working with me, then I would do it on my own. I did. At the time I took these steps to secure the border, I also said that I would move to fix problems that made the immigration system unfair, unjust, and provisions that simply made no sense at all. Specifically, steps that would be good for dreamers, married couples, and for America. That's why we're here today. A few days ago, we marked the 12th anniversary of taking care of dreamers that President Obama and I put in place. There are a few of these immigration areas that have had most positive impact and gotten more support from the American people across the board. These young people known as dreamers, Hispanics, South Asians, and more, who came to America as children, only know America as their home, have been able to live and learn out of the shadows. So many of them have graduated from high school and college and are starting families on their own, building successful careers, serving our nation in uniform, and so much more. We're much better and stronger nation because of Javier, who just introduced it. So today I'm announcing new measures to clarify and speed up work visas to help people, including dreamers, that graduate from U.S. colleges and universities, landed jobs in high-demand, high-skilled professions that we need to have grow to see our economy grow.
I needed that engineer.
Educated U.S. college universities put their skills and knowledge to work for here in America. I want to keep building the strongest economy in the world with the best workforce in the world. We've already created 15 million new jobs, a record. We're seeing record economic growth, a record of small business growth. And I doubt why the action we're taking today matters. If you wonder about that, just ask business leaders, ask labor leaders, ask economists, ask elected officials. They know it's good for American business. They know it's good for the American economy. They know it's good for America, period. This step builds on other actions we've taken to support dreamers, from defending dreamers in the courts and expanding access to health care for millions of Americans under the Affordable Care Act, including for dreamers. The second action I'm announcing today is about keeping families together. My dad used to have an expression. He said, Joey, family's about the beginning, middle, and the end. About keeping couples together who are married, where one spouse is a U.S. citizen, the other is undocumented. They've been living in the United States for at least 10 years. These couples have been raising families, sending their kids to church and school, paying taxes, contributing to our country for 10 years or more. Matter of fact, the average time they've spent here is 23 years. People respect that. But living in the United States all this time, there's fear and uncertainty. We can fix that. And that's what I'm going to do today. Change in our immigration law. There's already a system in place, the people we're talking about today. But the process is cumbersome, risky, and it separates families. Under the current process, undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens
I don't like
back
those
to their home
missions.
country. For example, Mexico, for example, fill out paperwork, obtain long-term legal status. They have to leave their families in America with no assurance that they'll be allowed back in the United States. So they stay in America, but in the shadows, living in constant fear of deportation without the ability to legally work. All this, even though under the law today, they are eligible for long-term legal status. Today I'm announcing a common sense fix to streamline the process for obtaining legal status for immigrants married to
One day.
who lived here for a long time. For those wives or husbands and their children who have lived in America for decades
Excellent.
undocumented, this action will allow them to file paperwork for legal status in the United States, allow them to work while they remain with their families in the United States. Let's be clear, this action still requires undocumented spouses to file all required legal paperwork to remain in the United States. It requires them to pass a criminal background check. And it doesn't apply to anyone trying to come here today. It only applies to this action is a better way. It doesn't tear families apart while requiring every undocumented spouse to fulfill their obligation. Look, the action I'm announcing today will go into effect later this summer. And by the way, just as was true for the protection of dreamers, the steps I'm taking today are overwhelmingly supported by the American people, no matter what the other team says. In fact, polls show over 70% of Americans support this effort to keep families. The reason is simple. It embraces the American principle that we should keep families together. In 2013, President Obama and I took a similar action to allow undocumented spouses and children of America's servicemen to stay together while they apply for legal status in America. Servicemen protecting our nation should not have to worry about keeping their families together, for God's sake. This policy has been in place for over a decade and is working well. So will the new one. Look, let me close with this. I refuse to believe that to secure our border, we have to walk away from being in America. For that's generations have been renewed, revitalized, and refreshed by the talent, the skill, the hard work, the courage, and determination of the immigrants coming to our country. Look, the Statue of Liberty is not some relic in American history. It still stands for who we are. But I also refuse to believe that for us to continue to be America that embraces immigration, we have to give up securing our border. They're false choices. We can both secure the border and provide legal pathways to citizens. We have to acknowledge that the patience and goodwill of the American people is being tested by their fears at the border. They don't understand a lot. These are the fears my predecessors trying to play on when he says immigrants. Immigrants, and his words are poison the blood of the country. When he calls
One day. Can't do anything on one day.
When he was president, he separated families and children at the border. And now he's proposing to rip spouses and children from their families and homes and communities and place them in detention camps. He's actually saying these things. It's hard to believe it's being said, but he's actually saying these things out loud. It's outrageous. Folks, I'm not interested in playing politics with border or immigration. I'm interested in fixing it. I said it before. Say it again today. I will work with anyone to solve these problems. That's my responsibility as president. That's our responsibility as Americans. Because the simple truth is, there's not a single damn thing we can't do to put our minds on. We got to remember who the hell we are. We're the United States of America, and nothing is not going to happen. We're a nation of immigrants. That's who we are. God bless you all. May God protect our forces. Thank you.
Just see if there are any further comments. It looks like obviously the president has turned around and chatting with New York Senator Chuck Schumer, and those who are gathered here. Let's keep an eye on it as we bring in Kellyanne Conway, former senior counselor to President Trump, now president of KAC Consulting.
and Robert Wolf, former Obama advisor. Both are Fox News contributors. Great to have both of you with us today. Kellyanne, let me start with you. Your reaction to this executive order. I thought it was interesting at the beginning of his comments, the president said, that he was celebrating the passage of this. But then he said, oh no, it's an executive order. Kellyanne.
Yes, and that's what DACA was. Even President Obama at the time said, I feel like this will be overturned or this won't stand muster because it's an executive action, not legislation. They've not been able, even Martha, when they've had a democratically controlled House and Senate, they've not been able to get this through, which tells you all you need to know. Look, he can lie and let the lies fly from that podium all he wants. The last part of what he said about detention camps and ripping spouses from each other that Donald Trump has promised this, these people are lying. They're lying about this energy, acuity, ability, agility we can see for ourselves based on your first segment today, Martha. And now they're lying about what Donald Trump is saying, but it doesn't matter. Because Joe Biden's worst approval ratings on any issue is Israel, Hamas, and his handling of the border. This is way too little, way too late for a guy who now owns things like the rape of a 13-year-old because that guy comes here illegally on Biden's watch. He owns Laken Riley's murder. And I'm going to make, personally, all these people eat and own all the Democratic failings and flailings on the border. Jay Johnson, President Obama's Homeland Security director, said that he can't imagine 1,000 crossings a day. We're so way past that quaint, pristine number
Take the
that
bridge.
we're into a complete crisis and invasion. And that's why this issue is top of mind. When people say solve the border crisis, they're talking about fentanyl. They're talking about the unfairness of giving illegal migrants cash and cell phones and clothing and hotel rooms and free pass. They're not talking about whatever this guy's talking about. And I would love to see responsible, smart Democrats like Robert Wolf stand up and say, this is bull. And stop lying about what President Trump has said. Is Joe Biden going to lie at the debate next week like he did last time about Hunter's laptop and Russian disinformation? Is the big lie to fly next week in that debate this nonsense? Lying that Donald Trump is put people in detention camps? It's crazy, and it has to stop. They're lying for the podium at the White House.
Let's give Robert a chance to respond. Hi, Robert. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, Kellyanne always does great at giving a great ad for the Trump campaign. I hope they pay her a lot of money for that. It would have been great if they listened to her on. It would have been great if they listened to her on Roe v. Wade, where the president continues to go out and say, "I take full credit for ending Roe v. Wade." We know Kellyanne was not for the way the Republicans have been talking about her. She even went and spoke to them, and now the president's all mixed up. The former president, whether he's for state or federal, 15 weeks or 6 weeks. Listen, there's a debate coming up, and there's a great debate to be had. There's a real contrast. There's a contrast on taxes. You have President Trump, former President Trump, talking about 100% tariffs. Full inflation will have. Unemployment will skyrocket. Wages will go down. Even Republican economists are saying this is nuts. We can talk about Roe v. Wade. We know where the Republican Party is. That's why in all the elections since the office, for the most part, Republicans have lost by 6 to 8 points versus the polls. I think we're at an inflection point, and next week we're going to be able to really see the differences between the two. I think President Biden has stood up for democracy, and I think today is all about democracy. I'm not going to call it about lying and this and that. I think he's taken an executive action because Republican Senator Langford couldn't get past his bipartisan bill, even though that really, if you had an up and down vote, it would have passed.
All right. Because of the breaking news, we got to leave it there. But you're great guests. And love to have you back because we have a lot to talk about as we head into this debate. I think Robert just gave us a perfect demonstration of the quick pivot from the question of the border to abortion. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see when the border, which is obviously a very weighty issue, 60% of the country is in favor. 60% of the country is in favor of mass deportation. I don't think we've ever had a number like that. So we'll see where it goes. Thank you both very much for hanging in there with us today during this breaking news from the White House. Kellyanne and Robert, many thanks. So when we come back, we will have an opportunity to hear from Patty Morin, whose daughter was brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant. Rachel Morin lost her life in the most heinous way, and now there has been an arrest made. And this individual tried over and over again to get into this country after he was already being looked for as a homicide attack, as a homicide on golf course. So we'll be right back.
The bike riders. You'd have to kill me to get this jacket off. It's electrifying. 4 stars. Must see some machine.
You're scared away.
The bike riders rated R only deals this Friday.
Why would I use pad? Hundreds of travel sites at once. I can't trust anything else to do the job right. That's one done. 20 seconds a week to lose 20% of your weight in a year with diet and exercise. That's the power of GLP-1s through Ro. Connect with the provider today at ro.co/20.
By leaf filter, it's well designed, efficient. I appreciate that.
Leaf filter's technology keeps debris out of your gutters for good. Guaranteed.
What more could you ask for?
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER today or visit leaffilter.com.
These bills are crazy.
She has no idea she's sitting on a gold mine. She doesn't know that if she owns a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, she can sell all or part of it to Country for cash. Even a term policy. Even a term policy? Even a term!
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-496-9200 or visit CoventryDirect.com. The darkness of bipolar depression made me feel like I was losing interest in things I love. Then I found a chance to let in the light. Discover Capilita. Unlike some medicines that only treat bipolar 1, Capilita is proven to deliver significant symptom relief from both bipolar 1 and 2 depression. And in clinical trials, movement disorders of weight gain were not common.
Capilita can cause serious side effects. Call your doctor about sudden mood changes, behaviors, or suicidal thoughts right away. Antidepressants may increase these risks in young adults. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Capilita is not approved for dementia-related psychosis. Report fever, confusion, or stiff muscles, which may be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. Common side effects include sleepiness, dizziness, nausea, and dry mouth. These are all the side effects.
In the darkness of bipolar 1 and 2 depression, Capilita can help you let in the light. Ask your doctor about Capilita. Find savings and support at Capilita.com.
JD Vance is live on Special Report. The Senators breaking down the 2024 race and the key issues swaying voters. Brett is the exclusive interview tonight. Another sunny day by the rock. But it only takes 1,000 seconds to change the mood. Voters operating under the influence of alcohol or drugs pose the same danger and face the same consequences as those operating a motor vehicle. They'll lose their license, face fines and insurance increases, and maybe even jail time. Impaired voting is impaired driving. There are better ways to spend a sunny day. Enjoy the summer on safer roads and byways. Drive alive. Drive sober.
On your order. We've got the objective in sight.
The program helped me a lot. I met other kids who were going to the same total time, so I was able to relate and find where I could. And thanks to your support of United Way, I'm able to achieve my dreams and become a doctor.
I've never seen Wisconsin. It's a pretty good crowd, good-sized crowd gathering there. We expect the former President Trump will arrive any minute. There is a rally in Wisconsin. Obviously, it is one of the big 3 states that the winner of the 2024 election wants to get on their column. So it's a state that Biden carried by less than 1 percentage point in 2020. It's a razor-thin win for Biden in 2020. It's the home of the upcoming Republican National Convention. We'll take you there live as soon as the former president and current lead candidate for the GOP, takes the stage there. I will dip in and take a look at that. In the meantime, a subject that is no doubt going to come up in Wisconsin today is this and stories like it. The suspect in the killing of a 37-year-old mom of 5 young children has waived his right to extradition, and he will be headed to face trial. Authorities say that they just found him casually sitting at a bar in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Here he is in front of a sports bar billboard in his yellow t-shirt. He crossed the border illegally last year, tried a few times to get in and stay in. He is wanted for murder back home in El Salvador. He, by all accounts, in terms of the things he has done, including an assault on a little girl in Los Angeles, a monster of a person, if he is indeed the one who is behind all of these heinous attacks. Former President Trump placing blame on President Biden and the open border, and vowing that on day one he would shut that border down and that he would start deporting millions of Biden's illegal criminals. Those are the words of former President Donald Trump. Grateful to be joined by Patty Warren, the mother of Rachel Warren, who was tragically killed. She was just out for a jog at a place that she used to run all the time in Maryland, the Montauk Trail. And she joins me now. Patty, my condolences for the loss of your daughter. I'm so sorry to you and your family for what has happened.
Excellent.
Yeah, I appreciate
Good mission.
that. You know, I want to put up the cover of the New York Post. It has a beautiful picture of your daughter, and the headline is "Open Border Killer." And I wonder, you know, obviously your loss is first and foremost, but now that they have arrested this individual, when you see a headline like that, "Open Border Killer," what goes through your mind, Patty?
A couple of things. One, they're using my, and this is gonna, I don't know how this is gonna come across, but I'm just saying the way it is. They're using my daughter like a political flag, and I don't want to underestimate the importance of what's going on at the border. We're almost 2,000 miles away from it, and we've had 2 murders in the county that I live in and Rachel lived in. So it has come all the way up, halfway up from the southern border, the United States. But with that said, I don't want them to take my daughter's name and put it on a flagpole for a political reason, because she's more than just a statistic. She was a mother and a daughter and someone that was very dearly loved. And I don't want to reduce her life to just a political name, if that makes sense. And I don't think that people, when they hear these murders caused by illegal immigrants, you know, they would use it for whatever side they're on. And it kind of devalues the life of the person. And I really want people to understand that life itself is valuable and precious, and that that's what we need to preserve. And that's what makes this an American crisis, not just a political crisis. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Which is why I said, you know, I'm sure this isn't the most important part of this story for you, because you're just suffering the loss of your daughter, and her children have lost their mother. I know she has an 18-year-old daughter who's also expecting a child, and the family is growing, and she should be there to see all of this. So I thank you very much for coming on and reminding everybody that these are individuals who have families whose lives have been taken and cut short by violent acts. And the fact that this person is here illegally is certainly part of the story, because it goes to a bigger picture issue in the country, but she is your daughter. And we please know that our hearts are with you as you struggle through all this. And we are glad that at least the loop has been closed on apprehending her killer, the police believe. So I want to thank Patty for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Be well. So breaking right now, this is new video of people here in New York City holding down the suspect in the rape of a 13-year-old girl until the police could come and arrest him. We heard this story from Rosanna Scott earlier. The attack happened in a park in the broad daylight in Queens, New York, and the neighbors recognized the guy from the help from the wanted pictures, and they took him down. Police say that the suspect is a migrant from Ecuador who crossed the border illegally 3 years ago, and that story we continue to get more information on, but thank goodness in this case, this perpetrator is also in custody. Coming up, influential Detroit rapper Icewear Bezo tells us why Donald Trump has his vote in also a very tight, very important electoral state. We'll talk about the dynamics, what's on his mind, what he wants for the future next.
I'm voting based on personal experience. I've experienced Trump as president. I've experienced Joe Biden as president. And I like the way I like Trump as president more.
This bathroom's so musty. David's new Fast Acting Drop-In Cap attracts and traps excess moisture, eliminating musty odors.
Get a True Max protein with 30 grams of protein. Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein. 1 gram sugar, 25 vitamins and minerals, and use microbiome with a prebiotic.
Veteran homeowners, need cash but worried you can't get a home loan because of your credit? Here's great news. At New Day, we've been granted automatic authority by the VA to make our own loan approval decisions. In fact, if you've had credit challenges and missed a payment along the way, you're more than 5 times more likely to get approved for the New Day 100 VA cash out loan. No one knows veterans like New Day USA.
Call 1-844-625-4552.
This is our future, Ma. GoDaddy Arrow creates a logo, website, even social posts in minutes. Ow! Hey, get it?
Different mission.
Get your business online in minutes with GoDaddy Arrow.
Aluminum whitening strips. No peroxide, no paint. I can use them every day if I want. Eat what I want, drink what I want. Pop an aluminum strip and hello, my smile is back on point. Easy.
The best things in life come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 thumbs up. And now, buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, 2 months free. All for fast, reliable, nationwide coverage. Make the switch today.
I managed to get the last room for $190.
I booked the last room a week ago.
I booked yesterday. Some sites panic you into booking their last room. Instead, Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites so you can save up to $50 a night. Hotel? Trivago.
I joined the Army in 2004. In the later part of my military service, I operated as a civil affairs team leader within special operations. Our job was to effect change with the mission of defeating ISIS. We were doing routine combat patrol where we were at one of the schools where girls had returned to school. When they returned home, ISIS saw that they were losing control, losing their grip on the people, that they targeted my team for an assassination. An ISIS suicide bomber squeezed his way into my team and detonated a suicide vest. It's a bad day. I had a total of 22 life-saving surgeries over 2 years that I spent in the hospital. We were worried. We didn't know how we were going to be able to pay for the house, how we were going to continue to pay our mortgage. That's when the Tunnel Towers Foundation stepped in and said, we have a solution for your problem. You don't have to worry about packing up and moving somewhere else because Tunnel Towers Foundation is going to help us make this forever home.
I was very emotional about wanting to see Jonathan and his family come into their new home because they're going to be spending so many happy moments.
Excellent team.
Away from my own play, it gave me hope. Hope for the future, knowledge that I can overcome these things, but I don't have to do it alone. Hello, I'm Major Jonathan Turnbull, United States Army retired. The Tunnel Towers Foundation built me a smart home that will give me more independence and a better quality of life. I am asking you to donate $11 a month so that T2T can help others that were injured while protecting their
Avenger spawning new core.
please visit t2t.org or call 1-844-RAPIST.
So, former President Trump about to hold a rally in the crucial battleground state of Wisconsin this hour. It follows a visit to Detroit, where the former president sought to build on his momentum with black voters. Outreach critics and are blasting all of this outreach as disingenuous. Watch.
I call it blackstro-turfing at this point, right? Like they're literally trying to create this fake grassroots movement, and part of it is around trying to lure people in with cash and say, hey, look, we're going to dangle this Trump money at you.
Okay, I'm joined now by Detroit rapper Ice Mezzo. He says that he supports former President Trump, posting this picture with him at an event this weekend, saying in part, I met him as a man and a father who understands the only way to attempt to change things is to address things. And he joins me now. Ice, we're good to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining me today.
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. You heard Joy Reid there. You know, she says that this is blackstro-turfing, and basically, you know, throwing money at black voters in an attempt to get their support. What would you say to her?
I think that's absurd, and I think that's not okay to throw those type of ideas out there as if we got paid to support anyone. I just think it's absurd. It's ridiculous, you know. As she was, sometimes a lot of Democrats assume that we supposed to just vote blindly, and I feel our votes should be worked for. I feel like our parents blindly voted for generations, but I think this generation is now understanding that we have to ask questions, and our votes should be worked for. We should not just blindly vote because people say it's cool or tell us who to vote for because they want us to vote based on personal feelings. And I vote based off of personal experience. I've experienced both presidents. I haven't fully endorsed our vote just yet on Donald Trump, not just yet, but I am leaning that way. You know, I've experienced both presidents as president, and in my personal experience, my life was differently when Trump was in office. My family's life was different. The economy was different, and I actually care about the border. You know, I don't think that is fair that she say that, because that's basically saying if it's the only way we will lean anyway outside of voting Democrat is the money like that. That's ridiculous. That's not fair, and it's not cool. I actually have sense. We have sense. We have enough sense to ask questions. Not everybody that makes music or everybody that's from the trenches or the ghetto, we're not all fools. We don't do everything about money. No, I did not get paid. I'm just someone that I'm a fella. I haven't always been able to vote, but now I'm able to vote, and I want to take advantage of my voting power, and I would like to ask questions. And the crazy thing is that, you know, my entire life, my family, and the generations before my mother,
Excellent.
Democrat, they always vote. They didn't ask questions, but I decided to ask questions, and this is what it is.
So you just talked about the fact that you weren't always able to run.
They looked up too.
Running the law in your past. What do you make of the conviction that President Trump saw here in New York? How does that impact your vote?
I don't know enough information about his conviction. I'm a felon and I'll change. I know people can change, but again, it's not about personal feelings. It's about I'm not deciding on who's a better person, President Biden or President Trump. That's not for me to decide. I don't know neither one of those candidates personally. I'm voting based off personal experience. I don't know either one of these guys. I mean, people change. It doesn't affect my vote, and I'm not sure if it
Thank you, Icewear. I'm up against a heartbreak, and I really want to thank you. I hope you'll come back and talk to us again soon. That is the story for today.
All right, thank you, Martha, very much. Donald Trump's race in Wisconsin moments from now is going to be rallying in a key state as President Joe Biden announces some sweeping new protections for migrant spouses of U.S. citizens. No matter the state that they're from or living in now, it is all putting migration front and center, and the border front and center with Election Day, if you can believe it, 20 weeks from today. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. Glad to have you.
Not even sure I have that anymore.
Wisconsin. This is always a state that is as close as it takes between the major candidates. It has been in the last two presidential elections. Polls are looking equally tight right now. Let's go to Brian Dennis in Racine with more. Hey, Brian.
Hey,
Hey, Neil, well, there are several thousand Trump supporters that are here in Racine, Wisconsin, just ahead of comments with a rally we're expected to start at any moment here. I'll give you a sense of what it looks like here on the coast of beautiful Lake Michigan. These folks are expected to hear former President Trump hammer President Biden on immigration and inflation, two issues that he leads by double digits over President Biden, according to our polling here in Wisconsin. This could be the first time we hear the former president comment on that new executive order by President Biden. Already, we're seeing Republicans online saying that instead of mass amnesty, we need mass deportations. The former president commenting exclusively to Fox Digital earlier today about a case out in New York City where an illegal immigrant from Ecuador was charged with raping a 13-year-old girl in broad daylight in Queens, New York. He crossed the border illegally in 2021. Trump telling Fox Digital exclusively, quote, "I grew up right near there. Something like this was unthinkable years ago. Unthinkable. These are Biden migrants. They're flooding our country. It will get worse, far worse, unless I'm elected president." We spoke to voters lined up today here in Racine, Wisconsin, a state Trump lost by fewer than 21,000 votes in 2020. These Trump supporters told us they came to today's rally largely because of the border crisis.
Well, we've got a lot of criminals come across the border. I mean, look at all the people that are dying. They're getting murdered. So people aren't safe anymore. They can't even walk around. They can't even go jogging without getting murdered.
What is it about the border that has you concerned?
Just that they're not able to get criminals coming in. The safety issues.
The former president will also hammer President Biden on gas prices, which have risen by over $1 a gallon in Wisconsin since Biden took office in 2021, up to $3.28 a gallon. The former president will also hit Biden on inflation of consumer products in general: food, shelter, energy, transportation, all up about 20% here in the Midwest since Biden took office. New members poll out today has Trump and Biden tied nationally among registered voters and tied among young voters under the age of 45. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan are near must-wins for President Biden if he plans on winning re-election. And look, senior citizens could very well make the difference here in Wisconsin. There are more than 1 million senior citizens living in Wisconsin, 1 in every 5 people, many of them on fixed incomes. Expect the former president to touch on that here. Neil?
Brian, thank you very much for that. We look forward to going back to my friend when the former president starts speaking. I want to go to Rich Edson right now because the president of the United States, the president, not going to Oval Office and wants to stay there another 4 years, has been championing an effort right now to make 500,000 illegal being deported, but there is a special connection here in this town today. To you, Rich.
Well, this is a new policy that the administration has just announced. President Biden did so on what is about the 12th anniversary of DACA here from the East Room of the White House. Basically, what this new order does, or this new policy does, is it protects from deportation about 500,000 people in the country. To qualify, a person would have to be in the United States for 10 years and legally married to a U.S. citizen as of yesterday. They also cannot have a criminal record. Now, the White House says this policy would also apply to about 50,000 children younger than 21 whose parent is married to a U.S. citizen. Normally, a migrant married to an American citizen would need to return to their home country to apply for legal residency here. The president's policy today changes that.
Most of our new recruits have never worked.
There's already a system in place for people we're talking about today, but the process is cumbersome, risky, and separates families.
2 weeks ago, the administration announced it was limiting asylum application at the border. Immigration activists called the White House anti-freedom, anti-family, and anti-America a couple of weeks ago while they applauded today's action. Republicans say Biden's policies amount to just non-enforcement.
It's another stop to the pro-amnesty crowd. This is the most pro-amnesty open borders president in American history.
Now, the White House press secretary was asked this a couple of hours ago whether today's announcement was a counterweight to the more restrictive border announcement that he had from a couple of weeks ago. Karine Jean-Pierre said she wouldn't look at it that way. Neil?
All right, thank you very much. Rich Edson on all of that. The president, for his part, is saying you can do things like this and also crack down at the border. In fact, he's saying in the last couple of weeks since he's done so, there have been dramatic results. Take a look.
2 weeks ago, I did what Republican Congress refused to do. I took action to secure our border. That included restricting unlawful crossings at our southern border, making decisions on asylum more quickly, and so much more. And so far it's working. Since we've won my order, encounters have dropped 25% at the border, and we're seeing the lowest number we've seen in a long time.
All right, that was a surprising number to us. We just wanted to check that, and who would know better than Lieutenant Chris Olivares, the Texas Department of Public Safety. And so, Chris, the border crossing actions, you know, they're down now 25%. Is that true?
Well, good afternoon. Yes, so border crossings are down, especially in the last 3 days. They've been well below 3,000 now. Of course, again, this is all politics. We know that for a fact. I know American people are well aware of what's taking place. And by some of those comments, the question should be raised is, if you're able to take executive action now, why not take executive action on day one when there was policies in place to prevent the worst security crimes that we have ever experienced in our history? So those are questions that need to be raised. Also, questions need to be raised from the families and victims that have been victimized by criminal illegal immigrants that have been released to the country. Most recently, these two 13-year-old teenagers that were sexually assaulted by criminal illegal immigrants. Those are questions that the American people want to know.
So when we talk about this 25% drop in these border-related encounters, you can quite argue, as you just did, that this is maybe a little late, but it does seem to be working. Are you confident that it
with the intention of serving as a civilian peacekeeping unit within the city centers?
You know, right now, our focus, especially in Texas, for one, there should be zero unlawful border crossings between the port of entry. Even 2,000, 2,500, that's still not sustainable. You're still looking at well over 900,000 illegal border crossings. And first off, there should be something in place to prevent anyone from seeking asylum to cross between the port of entry. The legal way is to go to a port of entry where it's much safer. That does not prevent any type of criminal action either. Criminals that are coming across the border that are being released to the country right now. That's where we need real action, real solutions. And many of these families and victims that have been victimized by some of these criminal immigrants, they want those answers. Condolences can only go so far. These families, the American people, they want action. They want real solutions, not during a political year, but they want solutions right now.
So when they talk about this decline in crossings and the like, is that because some of the asylum cases are being re-adjudicated? Or what's accounting for that? Is your men and women capturing more and having the ability to do that, or what?
You know, that's a great question. You know, that's something that the federal government needs to answer. I can tell you that in Texas, you know, ever since January, illegal border crossings in Texas are down more than 74% because of our efforts, because of the fact that we have National Guard soldiers that are placing physical barriers along the river, because we're making arrests, we're actually applying consequences to those that violate state law. And we saw this shift, this dramatic shift out to the west, California, Arizona, where demolitions have reported. We have Chinese nationals, people from the Middle East and Africa that are coming across those areas because there is no consequences, there is no National Guard. It all goes back to what are the states doing to protect their states? And of course, when we launched Operation Lone Star back in March of 2021, these are the efforts because of that, because of what the Rapid has been able to do, because of that leadership, we're seeing that a decrease now. It all goes back to the also, why now? Why actually put an executive action order right now when you could have done it from day one? That would have prevented so many other tragedies that have taken place over the years, so many other victims that we could have saved because of these disastrous border policies. That's the question needs to be raised. Of course, we don't know why or what's causing this decline, but I can venture to say that it has something to do with a political year, being that it's a political year, and we have to wait to see what's going to happen with you or what the new office is going to do.
Yeah, I just hope it continues. To your point, Lieutenant Chris Olivares, very good to see you again, Chris. Thank you very much. Again, it depends on where the border you look. Of course, we talk about the Texas side of it with Mexico, but of course, there is California, California, where you find our built illusion. There's some numbers of a different sort of being registered built. Yeah, Neil, that's exactly right. Unlike what you just heard from Lieutenant Olivares with Texas locking down its state, securing its border, none of that happening here in sanctuary state California, where there is zero resistance whatsoever at the state level here in Khajit. We'll show you what we're talking about. Take a look at this video we shot earlier this morning. This is a group of predominantly Chinese nationals that just walked in illegally right here where we're standing in this combat area. We continue to see large numbers of Chinese nationals coming in and day out. Big language barrier for these Border Patrol agents out here to deal with. There was no agents around, as you can see in this video when we shot it when this group walked in, but that wasn't the only group. Take a look at this video we shot, same spot, 1 a.m. this morning. While everyone's sleeping during the overnight hours, the cartels are pushing bodies across here in this San Diego sector. Once again, people from all around the world crossing illegally. Middle of the night, more men from China, more men from India. And this is something that we see play out very often at 1 a.m. out here in Cucamonga. It's the time that cartels like to push people across the border. And that certainly wasn't it as well. Take a look at this, Neil. Another group of Chinese nationals that crossed illegally. There's several dozen of them, about 30 or so. And what we've noticed with the Chinese nationals is a lot of them bring these paper IDs that they print out. You might see them as they're getting processed by Border Patrol. They don't really bring their passports. They bring these paper IDs. China doesn't share information on its citizens, so it's hard for Border Patrol to vet these folks. We know little to nothing about them, but the Chinese give themselves up because they expect to be released into the country. And then lastly, we'll finish you off in Texas. Take a look at these mugshots right here. Border Patrol in Del Rio sector reporting just this October 1st, their agents have arrested 68 convicted sex offenders who have crossed into their sector trying to sneak into the country. Of those 68, 62 of them were convicted of sexual crimes against children. That's 91% of these guys. Some of the crimes include multiple child rapes, multiple sexual assaults of children, and multiple child molesters. And back out your line, you know, just goes to show the contrast between a state like Texas and California. Texas has barbed wire all over the place, thousands of National Guard soldiers, Texas troopers down there helping out. Here in California, we're lucky if we see a Border Patrol agent down there. There is nothing, no California Highway Patrol, no California National Guard out here in Cucamonga. Send it back to you.
Just amazing. As a reporting bit on this, Bill, thank you very much. Bill Malusian in Cucamonga, California. We'll update you and take you to the state of Wisconsin, where we're going to be hearing from former President Trump. This is a state that is as close as it is right now. Joe Biden won it by 20,000 votes 4 years ago. Donald Trump won it by 20,000 votes, so they're about 4 years before that. They're essentially tied right now in that same state. That's how important it is and how much is on the line. Speaking of on the line, when it comes to you and your buddy, across the board records for the S&P 500 today, NASDAQ as technology stocks world for their 7th straight record. The S&P 500, in case you're counting, up for a 31st record of the year. The Dow not all that far for record territory. What is going is particularly technology and hope with retail sales slowing a little bit. The Federal Reserve has more wiggle room to maybe get an interest rate cut done this year after all. That is the hope. Anyway, I should also point out that NVIDIA, for those of you who like to follow drama, is now the richest market cap company on the planet. It is now worth more than Microsoft, just surpassed that. But again, you might want to break these things down in pencil because the three of them, that is Microsoft and Apple and NVIDIA, have all switched sides on who's number one for the bid right now. Look.
We can't establish any new contacts until we upgrade our systems.
The temper-heated breeze makes sleep feel cool, so no more sweating all night.
3 days.
As the Temper Breeze feels up to 10 degrees cooler all night long. During our July 4th sale, save $500 on cooling Temper Breeze mattresses.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty.
Let's check it out.
Who knows what you expect? Put shipping to your advantage.
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
With the USPS Ground Advantage.
Lumina is the first fluoride-free toothpaste I've ever found that actually works. My dentist is blown away with how clean and white my teeth are. My gums and teeth are so healthy, it's crazy. You can get Lumina toothpaste at Walmart and Target.
Switch to Shopify. So you build it better, scale is faster, and sell more. Much more. Take your business to the next stage with a switch to Shopify.
I'm actually at the last room for $190. I booked the last room a week ago.
I booked yesterday. Some sites panic you into booking their last room. Instead, Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to $50 a night. Hotel Trivago.
Last year, to combat inflation, we ran a promotion cutting the price of meals unlimited. And it's so popular, we're doing it again. It's like a sequel that's actually as good as the original. Maybe better. Definitely not worse. Okay, it's exactly the same.
What's up?
Who are you?
I'm in your job. Get in. Listen, what you really need in life is some freaking tools. Power shop.
Right now during the Dodge Make This a Sucker event, get no monthly payments for 90 days on all 2024 Dodge brand vehicles. Go to Dodge.com and hurry to your local Dodge dealer today.
Tonight on the Interrangle, Democrats are preparing for defeat in November. We expose their resistance machine tonight at 7 p.m.
Thank you for your support. It allows our therapy drive program here.
When you get together with friends and family, remember to ride, reduce impaired driving. Because ride starts with you. It starts with a designated driver and the kitchen. All guests non-alcoholic drinks. We call a friend to come and pick you up. And at the corner when you pass the last bus. With a driveway with a simple keys please or in the living room if you decide to stay overnight. However you ride, thanks for doing your part to share it safe. That's it for Ride Alive Drive Solo.
All right, we understand from folks that they're running a little bit behind right now in Racine, Wisconsin. The former president, this is one of those states that, man, has been so close over so many elections, certainly over the last two, and both President Biden and the former president are running almost dead even in some of the latest numbers. So the significance of what is at stake here, not only for the state's 10 electoral votes, but how it could be maybe a harder things to come in battleground states where Donald Trump is doing quite well. Jerry Baker, the Wall Street Journal, largest June Manchester, the national politics reporter. Julia, to you and the importance of this state, it goes beyond those 10 electoral votes, doesn't it?
It does. Remember, this is a state that Donald Trump in 2016, but of course he lost it in 2020. So it's a part of that very important blue wall that also includes Michigan, Pennsylvania, even some may say Minnesota, even though Trump is polling better than expected, it's still considered to be more safe for Democrats than Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin obviously are. For Trump, he's recently gotten himself a bit of hot water in Wisconsin for, reportedly talking badly about Milwaukee, saying it was a horrible city during his meeting in the Capitol last week. His campaign pushing back on that, saying he meant it was horrible in terms of crime, but Democrats using that to go on the offensive against him in that state.
I don't know if there's been any total impact from that yet, Jerry, but again, everything I haven't seen in the state's always been close. I'm just wondering what would turn it. Go back to perceptions about inflation. This is one of those states where it would likely follow those leads.
Yeah, Neil, I think that's right. And I've had a Democratic strategist I spoke to quite recently said he thinks the entire election could very well come down to Wisconsin. And as Julia said, if you look at the swing states, Trump does seem to have a pretty solid lead in those Sun Belt states. The Rust Belt states are the three that Biden has to win. And by the way, if he wins all three, he would then win by 270 to 268. So it's a knife edge. Right? Wisconsin does seem to be probably the most competitive. Yeah, I agree with you. I suspect those remarks that Trump has alleged to have made, which I think probably were taken out of context. I think he was talking about it in terms of it being a horribly run city, a Democratic run city with all kinds of crime and other problems. I doubt that's going to make a difference. Remember that the Republicans are hosting their convention there in just a few weeks' time. So it's going to get a lot of attention There's going to get a lot of national media attention. It's going to get a lot of Republican attention. There'll be a new vice presidential pick, presumably that point. So I think all of that, but one thing I think we can definitely say is that Biden won't be making the mistake that Hillary Clinton made in 2016, when you'll recall very well, I'm sure, Neil, that she didn't even campaign in Wisconsin, assuming it was in the bag, and of course she lost it. So there's going to be a real battle. I think Wisconsin could well be the deciding point of the election.
You know, we already know, Julia, about the $30+ million raised by Joe Biden enforces with this big battle featuring Barack Obama and all these, stars. And we're already seeing that they're putting it to use. Part of a $50 million ad campaign that's rolling out right now, where the former president is being targeted as a convicted felon. They're going to keep using that. They're going to keep looking at his legal problems. Isn't that a bit of a roll of the dice for them, though, Julia? Seeing as the president's own son also carries that label, convicted felon. I mean, it is a generation removed, but not totally removed.
Yeah, it's certainly a risk, especially this close to the debate, which is in just over a week. I would imagine that if the Biden campaign is putting this in an ad and quickly telegraphing what President Biden will say to attack Donald Trump in the debate, and if he calls Donald Trump a convicted criminal or a convicted felon, which he technically is, it's going to be very easy for Donald Trump to turn back at Joe Biden and say, well, look at your son, he's also a convicted criminal and felon. So, it's definitely a risk. We don't know how well that messaging will play. We have seen polling that would suggest that some independents, are worried about this conviction and are worried about how well it will impact Trump's ability to serve as president. But it's certainly a line that the Biden campaign is willing to go through with. We've heard President Biden, off the in a closed-door fundraiser, he reportedly also referred to Trump as that. So it seems like they're warming up and really trying to see how this message plays, particularly in those very important swing states for those independent voters.
Interesting, Jerry Baker. One thing I noticed that, the Biden people do make note of the records of Wall Street's been hitting. They don't pounce it. They don't overly brag about it. Maybe they're concerned about how it looks. Great for Wall Street, not so great for Main Street. But it is sort of a conundrum, Donald Trump in the day was routinely talking about records that were setting almost on a weekly basis, and it's saying not so much the Biden.
Well, the economy message, Neil, just doesn't work for Biden. And, we've seen this. They have been talking up the economy a lot, and they're right. We've had reasonable growth for the last few years. Unemployment has remained low. The economy has created a large number of jobs. But all of that pales into comparison, and you and I have talked about this many times, compared with prices. Everybody is very upset about how prices have gone up in the last 3 years. So kind of hammering away that message, whether it's about the economy overall or whether it's about the stock market in particular, is really not working to them, because it's so completely outweighed by what people can see every day when they go to the grocery store and see how much more money they're paying. They're not focused on, the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones. They're focused on the fact that, food costs 20-25% more than it did a few years ago. The fast food prices have gone up in some cities by 100% in the last 5 years. So I think that message, is just a losing one for Democrats, and it's pointless to them to keep trying to press it.
Or to keep telling people that you're matching, it's not really all that bad. That's a difficult kind of a trick to pull off. Guys, I want to thank you both very much, Sherry and Julia, on all of that. We are waiting for the former president. Of course, he is in Wisconsin. I should point out as well the backdrop for all of this, not only the market, and it's not so much in Wisconsin right now, that it's beginning to hurt the entire country. It would seem 260 million Americans are in the path of 90-plus degree temperatures through the end of the week. Some of this going into next week. That represents more than 80% of the U.S. population that will be feeling that. Now, some are better prepared for it, others not so much.
They went by this umbrella.
Blackberry.
How about 5 chairs?
Cutting board?
Of bar cards.
Love it. Budget?
Bed Bath & Beyond.
Start saving. Shop now. BedBathAndBeyond.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may look like other money managers, but we're different.
How so?
We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our clients' best interest. So we don't sell any commission-based products.
Then how do you make money?
We have a simple management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
The clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority by getting to know their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more. Wow.
Maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
From pep in their step to shine in their coats, when people switch their dog's food to the farmer's dog, the effects can seem like magic. But there's no magic involved. It's just smarter, healthier pet food. It's amazing what real food can do.
Yeah, your worst nightmare. Your car broke down. Now you're worried it's going to cost you a fortune in repair bill. Unless you already called CarShield, the legit #1 auto protection company in the country. When you're protecting the plan through CarShield, the process is smooth like ice. And done in as little as 3 steps. 1. First, the tow truck takes your car to the shop. The cost of towing covers that plan through CarShield. Next, you probably need to get around while your vehicle's being repaired, right? 2. Plans through CarShield have rental car options too. Then comes the best part. 3. When you pick up your vehicle, you don't have a big repair bill to worry about. CarShield administrators get your truck repairs paid directly to the shop when you're back on the road with no worries. Call now to get an affordable plan through CarShield for your vehicle. Of course, when you call CarShield when you got a small problem like a power window motor that could cost a few $100s, or a big problem like an engine or transmission that could cost you thousands of dollars, you're taken care of. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country, and their administrators have paid out more than $1 billion in auto repairs. That's billion with a B. CarShield is the choice that gives you the CarShield guarantee. Your rate never goes up, and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims. Look, it's inevitable. As your car truck ages, the parts and components are gonna fail. It's not worth the risk. Call CarShield.
Waiting until your car breaks down is too late. Call CarShield for coverage on up to 5,000 parts and get the CarShield guarantee, where your rate never goes up and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Call 800-991-1467. 800-991-1467.
Well, forget about chip off the old block. Right now, NVIDIA is king of the block. It is now the most valuable market company in the world, overtaking Microsoft. But that's just for now, though. These things do change.
Isolated, depressed, and embarrassed. That's how it felt to live with bladder and bowel incontinence. But that changed when my urologist told me about Axonics therapy, a long-lasting solution that has really changed
One day.
my life. This is not another drug, and it works. Visit findrealrelief.com. Arrange an appointment with an expert physician to determine if Axonics therapy is right for you. Results and experiences may vary. Stop suffering with silence.
With so many choices on Booking.com, there are so many Tina Feys I could be. So I hired bodyguards to help me out.
Allergy Tina loves a hotel near Rodeo Drive.
Tina.
Why, Tina, booked a flight stay to ride this horse? Glenn Close? Millions of possibilities. You can book whoever you want to be. That's my line. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
All right, we showed you about an hour ago, President Biden announcing this new policy shielding undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens from deportation. No doubt his challenger, Donald Trump, will be mentioning that, talking about that, maybe criticizing that. He is addressing a crowd of immigrants in Wisconsin, where polls show that is in the entire state, with 10 electoral votes up for grabs. He and President Biden are statistically dead even. Donald Trump.
And you know, I love Milwaukee. I was the one that picked Milwaukee, I have to tell you. I was the one that picked it. These lying people that they say, oh, he doesn't like Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee. I said, you got to fix the crime. We all know that. You got to make sure the election's honest. But I'm the one that picked Milwaukee, and the Democrats or the radical left lunatics, as I call them, what they say is they're just so terrible. They lie. They have a horrible
horrible candidate. They have a candidate that has no clue, doesn't know where he is, and all they can do is lie. I love it. I'm the one that picked Milwaukee officially. So, and you have, and I think you had about 10 congressmen in a meeting that we had recently where I said how much I like Milwaukee. They all came out. They said, that's what he said. We can't help it. They're truthful people. But I just want to begin by saying, hello, Wisconsin. Hello. Great state. We've had great success here. It's great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands and thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. What a crowd. What a crowd. With your help, 5 months from now, we're going to win Wisconsin. We're going to defeat your radical left Democrat senator, one of the worst in the Senate. Nobody even knows she's a senator. I mean, frankly, she's not doing a good job representing. We have somebody that's going to be great. So, but we're going to defeat your Senator Tammy Baldwin. We're going to elect Eric Humpty of this area, by the way, who's a great gentleman, and spent a lot of time with him. He and his wife are incredible people. He's going to be a great representative. They're going to be great representatives of your state. But we're going to elect him to the U.S. Senate. We're going to evict weak, failed, and incompetent Joe Biden. He's an incompetent person from the White House. And quite simply, we are going to make America great again. Less than 4 years ago, our border was secure, inflation was nowhere to be seen, the world was at peace, and America was strong and respected. We were respected all over the world. None of this stuff would have been happening that's happened now with Russia and Ukraine and the attack on Israel. None of it would have been happening. We would have had we wouldn't have had a thing called inflation. That would have been nice too. But it was a different place 4 years ago, I think. But now we're going to make it better and bigger and stronger than ever before. But you had a president who put America first. I put America first. They put America last. Under crooked Joe Biden, the world is in flames. Our border is overrun. Inflation is raging. Europe is in total chaos. The Middle East is exploding. Iran is emboldened. China is on the march. And the worst, most incompetent, most corrupt president in history is going to drag us into World War III. Other than that, he's doing quite a good job, don't you think? Joe Biden is humiliating our country on the world stage. He's actually humiliating us. You saw what happened this weekend. It's turning the United States into a total joke all over the world. First, he wandered off the G7 in Europe on the stage. It looked like he didn't know where the hell he was, but he didn't know where he was. He's blaming it now on AI. He's saying he doesn't know what AI is, but that's okay. So they're saying the media is manipulating. Oh, he's saying the media is manipulating now. But that one I have to stick up for the media, I have to tell you. He said the media is manipulating the pictures of him constantly not knowing where the hell he is. They're doing just the opposite. They're making him look better. At the G7 in Europe, and he had to be rescued by other world leaders. They had to pull him back. Then he bizarrely put his face on the Pope's forehead. What was that all about? That was weird. Vivek is here. That was weird, Vivek. I don't know. Did you see the Pope? The Pope is like, what's happening? The Pope didn't really know what was happening. He said, this is strange. Then he froze during the celebration on the White House lawn. Then Barack Hussein Obama had to grab his hand and lead him off the stage as though he were a child. I have to tell you, Obama could have handled that. He could have done it a little bit softer. He could have done it like, let's go. He didn't have to grab him and pull him off the stage.
Oh, it's a good squad. Let's do this.
And I guess that was his primary purpose. He wanted to look good. He could have done a better job. In fact, the Biden people were very upset about that whole incident, but yet to be discussed. But crooked Joe and his handlers are insisting he's sharper than ever, and they see the videos of crooked Joe shuffling around or clean things. You know what a clean thing is? They're deceptively, they say they're deceptively
No, you good, Mo. I'm a good boy.
Russia people, the laptop from hell people, the 51 intelligence agent people. They're the people that said all sorts of lies about military, about our great military. They make up stories about our military. It's disgraceful what they can do, and they're so destructive to our country. They're the people that really destroy everything that they touch. That's why this November the people of Wisconsin are going to tell crooked Joe Biden, remember the apprentice, you're fired. Get out. You've done a horrible job. You've done a horrible job. Worst president in history. Get out. You're fired. Get out. We can't get him out fast enough. I'm worried about the next 6 months. Could end up in World War III with this person. He's the worst president ever. The Biden administration has been nonstop catastrophe. He has been a catastrophe. It's been a nonstop catastrophe, but one of Crooked Joe's most destructive moves yet is the lawless executive action he is taking today. You've been reading in the middle of the largest border invasion in world history. There's never been a border in the world that's like this border that we have, where probably 17, 18 million people by now have entered our country.
Let's save this. This looks awesome.
Joe Biden is formally granting mass figure. He's going to formally grant.
And we'll catch you guys next time, alright? Peace out.
To millions of illegal aliens that came into our country. And you have people that have been working for 10 years to try and come in legally, and they just keep working. Under this program, a deluge of illegals will be given immediate green cards and put on the fast track to rapid citizenship so they can vote. I think a lot of them are going to vote for me. Because if you look at the Hispanic population, if you look at the black population, they're voting for Trump. They're voting for Trump. You, look at you. Thank you. I like that person right